What's up, guys? Thank you for stopping by the EagleGarrett YouTube channel. My name is Garrett, and today I want to cover everyday carry knives. Now, this is a subject that has tons of viewpoints out there, and tons of people have their own opinions about what you should do. I want to talk about some of those things, and on top of that, I want to show you some of my favorite everyday carry knives that you can get, and it won't break your budget. Now, today is going to be what I call a red carpet review. We're going to roll out the red carpet for some of my favorite everyday carry knives. We're going to talk about them. I'm going to show you the features, and we'll just have a good time. So let's jump right into it. All right, first I want to cover one thing. You do not need to spend exorbitant amounts of money to buy a good knife. There are lots of good knives out there that don't cost an arm and a leg for you to carry every day. A knife is a tool. Now, let me preface that by saying, if you have hundreds of bucks you want to spend on a knife, go for it. Thumbs up, do it, whatever. But let's talk about a knife that doesn't cost hundreds of dollars, doesn't even cost $50, and is one of the best knives I've ever carried. Boom, right here. The Gerber AR3. This knife right here is absolutely an amazing, pristine piece of equipment. I've carried this knife to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I've carried it to the Rocky Mountains. I've carried it to the Monte de Cristo Mountains in New Mexico. I've carried it on numerous backpacking and camping trips. I have never had anything but admiration for this knife. Let me tell you a couple reasons why. One, it is so light. For backpacking and just everyday carry, this thing, you don't even notice it's in your pocket. You know it's there, but you don't notice it because of weight or anything. The other thing is, it's got a great size. I mean, it fits in your hand really nicely. It's got a great size. You can get a really, really good grip on it, and you can use it for whatever purpose. Another thing that I really love about it, it's got the half straight, half serrated blade. That, in my opinion, is a must. If you want to carry a knife that has a fully straight blade, go for it. Those are great knives. But this comes in a lot of handy when you're cutting, ropes, or when you're cutting things that are a little bit harder to get through. It kind of gives you that rigidity, that ridge, that saw-like feature you need to get through that hard-to-cut stuff. Another thing is, it's a pocket clip knife. You clip it in your pocket. It's always there. It's out of the way. It's a locking blade, of course, and the blade is just real smooth. I've loved this knife because as I've gotten used to it, you can just flick it open. It's not spring assist. That's another thing that I love about this knife. You know, spring assist knives are great, and a lot of knives these days are spring assist knives. But you don't need a spring assist knife. A knife like this, especially when you practice opening and closing it, you can open it and close it just as fast as you would with a spring assist knife. You don't need the spring assist, but it helps if you're somebody that's nervous around knives, or maybe it makes you nervous to use that thumb stud and flip it open. But once you get used to it, you can just swing it open, and sometimes, honestly, manual open like that is even faster than a spring because it's going as fast as you're able to flip that knife out of there. Now you run into the occasional hiccup where you don't quite get enough of a flip, but I mean, if you've got confidence in your flicking ability, I guess you could say, then you will love this knife. Not spring assist, it means there's less things to go wrong on it. Most of the spring assist knives don't have a problem. I haven't heard of a lot of spring assist knives having problems unless you're getting into the cheapies that you can buy. This looks like a switchblade. It's a spring assist stiletto style knife. But I bought this. This was actually a gift for my groomsmen at my wedding. It's not meant to be a super solid, high quality knife. It does the trick, but the spring assist on these knives has actually had problems. And on the higher quality knives, you won't run into that, but it's just one of those features that it always is a possibility. And the less stuff you have to worry about on a knife, the more reliable it is, in my opinion. So I like spring assist and I like manual open. This just so happens to be manual open, and I really appreciate that. So this is one of the best knives. I've been carrying this since 2004, my 16th birthday. That was a gift from my parents, and I absolutely love it. But there's a replacement to this, in my opinion. Now, although I love this knife, my wife got me a gift of another knife a year or two back for Christmas, and it's this knife right here. It's another Gerber knife. I think by now you can probably tell that I love Gerber knives, but it is a Gerber Hinderer CLS, and CLS stands for Combat Lifesaver. Originally, the Gerber Hinderer was created as a team effort by Rick Hinderer, who makes high-end quality knives. He's a knife maker, and Gerber. They teamed up and they made the Gerber Hinderer, which was a red handle. It had a silver blade, and the blade was rounded at the tip. It kind of had these bigger serrations, but at the end it was kind of rounded. That way you could use it in emergency situations to cut clothing and seatbelts and stuff like that very quickly without having to worry about cutting the victim that you were trying to help. This knife is the Combat series. This is a tactical version of that same knife. This was created for those who wanted to carry it in survival situations, law enforcement, military. It's got a pointed blade. It's not a rounded kind of safety blade. And the features that I love about it, you get the half serration, you get the straight blade up here. Another thing that I told my wife about that I really was looking for in another knife was this feature right here. Now, a lot of knives have a seatbelt cutter on them that's cut out of the handle. There's a slit in the handle and then there's a blade in there. This has a fold-out seatbelt cutter, which in my opinion is actually better. And the reason why is because you can fold it up and get it out of your way. You don't have anything to get caught on your knife, your clothing, or whatever. And when you need it, you just pop it out and you can use it. It's kind of it's a little safety blade too, because you can't really, unless you really try to jam your finger up in there, you can't cut yourself on it very easily. And I've also found, and this is just me, so don't laugh too hard when I tell you this, but this right here, it's not just a seatbelt cutter. This right here is for emergency clothes tag removal. I use this all the time to pop tags off of my clothes, my jeans, my shirts, especially when you get a bundle of socks. I mean, come on, guys. Whenever you get a bundle of socks, the worst thing is trying to get in there to cut that tag and you accidentally take a chunk out of your brand new black or white socks. I mean, that is not cool. This right here prevents that. You just slide this between those socks, bam, you are good to go. So not only is this a seatbelt cutter to save somebody's life, but it will also save you a bunch of hassle and time when you're trying to get that brand new pair of socks on before you go to work. But another thing I love about this knife is the fact that it is just extremely easy to open. I mean, I barely had to put any force into opening that knife, and it comes right open. And on top of that, you have this quick safety release. This is not a button or anything. It is literally, it's a switch that you pull down with your thumb, just like that. You pull it down, and when you do that, it deactivates the knife's safety right here, and it pulls that safety away from the blade enough to where you can close that blade, and your fingers aren't in the way. So if I was going to close this one-handed, I've got to push the normal type safety. I've got to push it to the side and use my finger to close the blade, and then throw my thumb up here so it's out of the way. That's okay. You can get fast at that. A lot of knives do that. That's great. It's worked out great for me over the years. But this one, I open this knife up, and then when I want to close it, I don't want my fingers, I really don't want them in the way of the blade. It always makes me nervous. So in this case, I can hold it to the side, I can pull that safety down, and I can close that blade nice and easy. It's awesome. This thing is awesome. So, wanted to cover that. Another thing I want to talk about is on the back side of this knife, you have literally this cutout hole right here. And that is meant, you can actually see the blade through that hole. That hole is meant for an oxygen tank. It was meant and intended for like firefighters or scuba divers who needed to crank on their oxygen tank. They just put that right over the nozzle, and then they can turn them on using this knife, and you don't have to have a special little tool for it or whatever. I don't use that for anything because I don't go scuba diving or fighting fires that often or ever. But if I ever do go scuba diving or fighting fires, I know that I've got it available. And I'm sure that at some point I will run into a need for that, and I'll be glad I have it. One other thing that was a major thing that I really like is this has got a glass breaker on it. No, it's not for, shattering your window panes just for the fun of it. I actually wanted this just in case you get into an emergency situation where you need to get out of your car or you need to get into someone's car to save them. This is not for going and bashing people's car windows in, so if you had that idea, please let it leave your mind now. But if you're in an emergency situation, someone's trapped in their car, they can't get to the locks, they've been in a wreck, or the car's on fire or whatever, you can bash out the glass with this, boom, and then you can get in there and save the person. And then that's where your seatbelt cutter comes in handy if you got to cut them out of their seatbelt. So this is a great knife. something I want to cover is a knife is a tool. It is meant to be used as a tool. On an average daily basis, you are going to use a knife as your primary box cutter, your primary rope cutter, string cutter, tag cutter, whatever. It's going to be used on a daily basis for stuff like that. But a knife can also be a self-defense weapon, and I don't want to, stay shy of the fact that, I mean, this is a great knife, and this could be used as a self-defense weapon. But if you get into a bind, and if you really had to resort to something like this, you would want a little bit bigger size. And this knife, although big, I mean, this is my hand. My hand's pretty long. It's a big knife. But despite that, it doesn't bother you when you carry it, and you can get a great grip on it. And if you had to, you could use this as a fighting knife. Now, that's not why you're going to carry a knife every day. If you're going to carry self-defense, you're probably going to have a concealed carry, and you're going to have a pistol or something like that. But worst case scenario, it's good to know you've got a backup. And a knife that can do everything plus be a self-defense weapon, in my book, is a total plus. So go ahead, take a look at these. This is by Gerber. I love Gerber knives. Gerber products, in my opinion, especially their knives, they make some of the greatest knives on the face of the earth. I'm just a huge Gerber fanboy, I guess you could say. Check them out. I've got the links to both of these knives in the description of this video. And if you want to pick up a great knife and carry it every day, look at these. Not only are they going to be amazing tools, but everybody needs to have a knife with them. It comes in handy so much. I don't know how many times people are like, hey, does anybody have a knife on them? They know I always have. If they know me, they know I always have a knife. For those who don't know me, they ask, and I'm always the one that provides a knife. I just always have it with me, and there's so many times that you need one. So you got to get into the habit. You got to get into the habit of putting in your pocket, your purse, however you want to carry it. You've got to get into the habit of remembering it's there, and then just knowing that, hey, you're not going to remember all day long. You're not going to be thinking, hey, this is in my pocket, this is bothering me. Or hey, this is in my purse, it's bothering me. No, but you will remember how important it is to have a knife when you need one. And so that's my tip for everybody. Philosophy of use is take a knife with you, and it will be available. Be prepared. From an Eagle Scout to everybody out there, it is the number one, probably most overlooked part of life, is just, hey, what am I going to need to be prepared for the day? And this is one of those options. So, sorry we've been rambling on for a little while. Check out these Gerber knives. There's lots of other knives I want to cover in the future, but these are some of my favorites. These knives have been the two staple knives in my life that I have carried in every situation. I don't carry a lot of other knives. I used to have pocket knives. I've carried little Swiss Army knives before. I've carried folding knives like this. This is like just a single blade Cabela's brand made in China knife. This is not one I actually personally carry. I carry knives such as this. It's just one I had close by. But if you ask me and you're going to carry a knife, these are the types of knives that you can have around. If you want to carry two knives, put that in your pocket. That you're not going to feel that either. But you want to have a folding knife like these. They're going to come in handy, and they're just always nice to have. So check them out. Thanks for stopping by, guys. We really appreciate you coming to the EagleGarrett channel. Thanks for looking at this first red carpet review that we've done of anything. Hope you'd enjoy it. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and just let me know what your favorite knives are and what you thought of this video. Ways that I could improve these red carpet reviews. And also, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and we will have a lot more content coming out soon. Thanks so much, guys. See you later.